Welcome to episode number 7 and season number 2 of the Go for 2 podcast. I am your host, Jackson Wallace. I got my friend, my buddy, my pal, Lucas Saver with me. Lucas, how are you, my friend?
Fantastic. All right, we just got done doing the Hometown Heroes podcast special for YouTube, which is awesome.
It's a great time.
My mood is a little dampened by the fact that we don't have cams on today, but that's okay. We'll have cams next week. We just got some stuff we're going through. And
yeah, little technical difficulties, a little something going on with my computer or something.
You know, I mean, I got everything here, man. Tennessee's nice today. Let's get it. Ooh.
Okay, let me tell you. Okay, we talked about this in the Hometown Heroes episode. Okay, but Lucas is enjoying beautiful weather. It's immaculate outside, not a cloud in the sky. You know, Memorial Day, like picture perfect, like, you know, dad on the grill, that type of thing. Everybody's swimming. For me, it's gloomy. It's dark. It's rainy. My house, so my apartment's sitting next to a construction site, okay? And in the construction site, it literally looks like the trenches of World War I. It's all muddy. It's like there's stuff everywhere. Nobody wants to be down there. So that was also the same amount of mood that I've currently been in with the Dallas Cowboys. Kind of damp, kind of dark, kind of despair. Just ready for Dak to freaking sign his contract. But anyway, before we get into all of that, happy Memorial Day, everybody. We're recording this on Monday, May 25th, so that is Memorial Day. Me and Lucas had some extra time, so we figured we'd go ahead and bang out these two podcasts at the same time. And so we just want to give a quick little thank you to all of those servicemen and women out there. We would not be here without you. Thank you, and a happy Memorial Day to you all. We appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you much.
Thank you. Okay, so now, Mr. Lucas, now see, I did this before you had to remind me. Comments from episode number 6, okay? I'm disappointed, and yet at the same time ecstatic, okay? Here's why, Lucas.
No.
Mr. Casey, who left 3 comments on the Hometown Heroes video, one of which was a reply to his own comment. That was something new. I hadn't seen that before. Good job, Casey. Did not take the time to comment on this episode, Lucas. He didn't comment on episode number 6. We have no comments from Casey. Okay? That's why I'm sad. Okay?
Look,
feeling a little...
All I can assume is that he wasn't in the right state of mind after answering himself in the replies. Yeah.
Let me tell you what. Some of those comments
throw him
were
a bone, Jack.
wild. I'll throw him a little bone here. Okay.
He's saying some crazy stuff, bro.
There's something going on. Okay. But, however, we do have a comment from El Chefe. Shout out to my friend, my buddy, my pal, Mr. Aiden out there. Thank you, Aiden. Thank you. Appreciate you making the YouTube account and leaving us a comment. He has a question, Mr. Lucas. I feel this is really right up your department, considering this is about your division, the AFC South. Okay?
A terrible place to be.
He said, I also want to do a fun little segment on the dumbest trade that Houston has ever done. Giving up D-Hop for David Johnson. What do you think they are going to do this year? Aiden, thank you so much for the comment, a.k.a. El Chefe. Keep cooking, brother. Keep cooking. Lucas, what are you thinking?
I mean, we got them... Looking at the rest of the division, I mean, I've got them finishing 3rd in the AFC South. I feel like a lot of people probably think that's stretching it a little bit, considering they have won the division a lot recently. But it's just, you look at the Colts and Phillip Rivers, washed or not washed, whatever you want to say he is, with Frank Wright. I think it's a dangerous combination. They got 2 halfbacks that can do anything. They've got a defensive line. They've got linebackers. They've got everything, Jackson. They've got speed at wide receiver. It's hard to see them not getting 1st or 2nd. And I think the Titans just went to the AFC Championship, you know, and we brought back the big boys, and we're gonna do our best to win. And I think it's pretty easy to assume the Titans are going to be 1st or 2nd in the division as well. So I just feel like the Texans kind of get kicked out, especially after losing DeAndre Hopkins. Like, you can't replace that weapon.
Literally the best wide receiver in the NFL. I'm curious to see what they can do with, they picked up Randall Cobb and Brandon Cooks and David Johnson. David Johnson, if healthy, can be a lethal running back, but he hasn't been healthy in a while, so that's why I kind of have some questions there. Possible fantasy target late on, like later rounds, might be able to pick him up late. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, I got him finishing 3rd as well. Me and Lucas kind of talked about our different projections. I think, Phillip Rivers, he's better than Jacoby Brissett. They were poised last year to kind of make an AFC title run. I feel like they're poised this year to do so. I got the division going up between them and the Titans. I just think, I don't know. And me and Lucas have talked about this time and time again. Is Bill O'Brien like crazy, or is he just crazy smart and outthinking the rest of us? History suggests just crazy. But who knows? Who knows? But
We'll see what happens.
Anyway, thank you for the comment, Aiden. We really do appreciate it. Time to get into it, Mr. Lucas. I'm ready.
All right, so first up, Mr. Jackson, I believe you have a little tidbit on a Mr. Jamal Adams with the Jets.
Yeah. We got some stuff going on with Jamal Adams. Okay, so just for a little background information for everybody. Last year, you guys might remember this whole talk about Jamal Adams possibly to the Cowboys. It's been a rumor for a bit. The Jets wanted a first-round pick. The Cowboys obviously said no, and instead we turned that first-round pick into CeeDee Lamb. Advantage, Dallas. So, in that scenario. But Jamal Adams, he's been very clear, very vocal. He's not happy with the Jets organization. He wants out. He's a two-time Pro Bowler. He's entering his fourth year in the league. Dynamic safety, can be versatile. He can also slide into the nickel if he needs to. He could play corner. He's just kind of one of those can do it all defensive backs, right? He's a two-time Pro Bowler. He's only been in the league for 3 years, so he's been doing very, very well. And the Jets really like him. They want to get a long-term contract done, but obviously, with everything going on with Rona and if not knowing when everybody's going to actually be back within training camp, and organizations have kind of been taking their time deciding on who we're going to sign long-term and not. They're kind of waiting it out as the kind of global side of things kind of calms down a bit, but he's been adamant he either wants a deal right now or he wants to be traded. Like he's being impatient, basically. So there's been rumors, of course, flaring up again. Could Jamal Adams be traded to the Cowboys, right? I don't know. It just kind of depends. I think there's two things that could happen here. One is suggesting that we trade Michael Gallup for Jamal Adams, right? Obviously, the Jets are in need of a wide receiver. Amari Cooper has even been vocal, stated before that Michael Gallup could be a number one. They're basically 1A, 1B on that team, and Michael Gallup has improved immensely, and he's just that guy. So the Cowboys, obviously with drafting CeeDee Lamb, do have, I guess you could say, wide receiver capital to spare. I guess that could be an argument, but I don't like this trade. Obviously, we have a glaring need at safety. If we could get him, that would be fantastic, but I think Michael Gallup is too steep a price, because I think what's going to make our offense even more dynamic this year is the fact that we have Lamb, Cooper, and Gallup. I think Gallup's really going to have a chance to shine. He's actually kind of one of my spotlight players to watch going into the season, because I think CeeDee Lamb's going to, he's going to attract a lot of attention. Amari Cooper, best route runner in the league, going to attract a lot of attention. He's going to be healthy this year, not going to have ankle or knee issues, hopefully. So I think Michael Gallup's just good to have. He's also, when does it hurt to have an extra, good wide receiver? Never. So I think that would be too much to give up. I hope they don't do that. Also, one big hurdle here is Dallas hadn't figured out what they want to do with Dak yet, right? That contract, those negotiations are still kind of hovering for everybody. So, will we sign him to a long-term deal? The deadline's approaching July 15th. I don't know. But one thing I can guarantee with this deal, nothing moves on Jamal Adams until we figure out what happens with Dak. Just kind of curious. What do you think about that, Lucas? Potential trade with Jamal Adams.
So just to refresh me here, did y'all draft a safety in the draft?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, so I remember us talking about how y'all skipped over Xavier McKinney and Grant Delpit, right?
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe the Cowboys have kind of already, the rumors have been out there for a while. Maybe it's because y'all kind of are expecting to get Jamal Adams.
It's possible. It's possible. I mean, we definitely want him, right?
Right.
I
really think that's an interesting deal. I think it'd be an awesome trade. Gallup for Jamal Adams, I think, is a good trade. Especially considering you got CeeDee Lamb now. You got a tight end that you're expecting to do good. You obviously have Zeke there always. Andy Dalton or Dak Prescott, either one could throw a ball to any of those guys, and I don't care if it was wobbly, straight, upside down, or if it was on fire. They're probably going to catch it. And so,
Yeah.
I really think you need to help your defense because it's just you need help.
Yeah.
Right? You need some secondary help, Jackson. That's just how it is. You need to sign Logan Ryan, and you need to trade for Jamal
That's
Adams.
the thing, man, with this whole contract thing with Dak, like, and we don't know where we stand on him. We can't make a move on a Logan Ryan right now. You know, we can't
I don't think you can make a move on a Jamal Adams until it's resolved either.
Yeah, we can't make a move on Jamal Adams. We can't make a move on anything until we figure out what's going on with Dak. And if Jamal Adams is really out here demanding a trade or demanding a sign now, I'm worried it's going to be too little too late. Yes, the Cowboys are interested. Last year, we got really, really close to a deal. And who knows? Maybe we could trade for him this year. You know, I would love to have him, but it would hurt me to give up Michael Gallup. But, at the same time, it's a glaring need for defense for us. We're considering moving some of our corners to safety. That's been kind of the talk of the town. Chidobe Awuzie might move over there. Apparently, he played safety in college for a little bit, and that's kind of his natural position. I don't know. We'll just have to see. But we're considering moving positions. It's kind of that. We're kind of desperate for that. So
yeah.
So it ain't looking pretty, Mr. Lucas. But yeah, Jamal Adams. That's kind of the news going on. He wants a deal now, or he wants to be traded. He doesn't want to wait for anything else to happen. So we'll keep an eye on that in the coming weeks.
Of Dak just killing the Cowboys.
Yeah, if he could make a decision, then we can know, and know where we stand and know where we have money to spend. So anyway, that's what's going on with Mr. Adams. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't really want to get away with Gallup though.
So another thing I wanted us to talk about, Jackson, is so everyone knows with the COVID situation going on, a lot of NFL teams, honestly, all of them have been doing online training camps, and they even had to move the date back once. I'm not sure when that ends, but I know it's going on right now.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, Jack, I kind of want to know, like, your take on how do you think this is going to affect teams? Like, do you think there's going to be a team like the Patriots who have Bill Belichick as their coach, and he's an old-timey guy, and he's super smart, and you always expect him to have his teams prepared, but maybe something like this hurts him because it's not a traditional way. Or maybe a coach like him finds a way, and he does a way better job than someone like a Dan Quinn with the Falcons or something. So just kind of touch on that a little bit for me. And
sure, I think teams that are really going to struggle are teams that are coming in with brand new staffs, right? I.e. the Cowboys. Teams like that, the Browns, because these coaches haven't really had too much of an opportunity to really even get acclimated with the facility and all of their staff and who runs what and who's doing this. I mean, Mike McCarthy's got a little bit of an edge, I guess, in that department because he came in so early. Before all of this quarantine stuff, he was able to kind of get to know everybody. But with the new staff, like, you're coming in, you're learning on the fly all, straight away. You got to get your team prepared. You got to change up your system. You got to get your guys hired. Like, it's an extensive process. And with this whole delay with COVID, I think it's really going to hurt those teams bringing in a new system and new coaches.
What about the Miami Dolphins? Like, teams like that just have all these rookies coming in. Cincinnati Bengals got a new quarterback. The Chargers have a new quarterback,
Yeah. It's going to hurt all of those guys too, for sure, because there's nothing like you can get with one-on-one interaction or everybody getting together and the camaraderie that you're able to build at the facility. Online, that's cool and that's great, and I'm glad we found a way to get some kind of substitute in for that. But there's nothing the same as throwing the ball to the guys, handing the ball off, and working out with everybody in cohesion together at the same place, right? It's traditional. With Bill Belichick, like, kind of being a little more old-timey traditional, I'm sure that the Patriots organization have a guy in there who's able to kind of walk everybody through the technical side of things. It's probably going to be a challenge for him. I imagine it wouldn't I can't really imagine a scenario where it wouldn't be a hurdle. Just kind of getting used to that. But by the same token, it's difficult for everybody. But it's especially going to hurt the people with new quarterbacks, tons of rookies, new coaches, because not only do they have to get acclimated to everybody within the staff and the organization, but they also have to try and get their guys ready without being actually present with them.
Right. I worry about the Titans a little bit, like it's supposed to be Tannehill's first full off season, him the starter.
Yeah.
Because last year he said he had to bite his tongue. He didn't really get to work with the starters as much as he probably wanted to. So I worry about that a little bit, but then at the same time, part of me is I feel like Vrabel is always going to have the team ready, stuff like that. But then I'm also like, well, maybe not if this is happening and da. Yeah.
It's a challenge for everybody.
Stuff,
I tell you what, it's really a challenge over here for me with the Cowboys at Dak. And I know we already did our Hometown Heroes episode, but this is kind of a mini extension, I guess, if you will. Dak not being signed and, not participating in these offseason programs yet, it's going to hurt us, man. Because I know we're still keeping the same offensive coordinator and still kind of Kellen Moore's still calling the plays, but it's still going to be difficult, quarterback and head coach syncing up if they're not even talking, because of the contract. So it's just it's adding more fan to the flame, if you will.
And also, when you're looking at situations such as the Raiders with Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota, specifically the Bears with Nick Foles and Trubisky, you're looking at that and they're wanting as much time as they can possibly get in person with these quarterbacks to find out which one they want, and could maybe rush some decisions. Because they use all the time they can get. I mean, week 1 of the NFL season starts, and teams are like, "Yeah, we're not ready."
Yeah.
Like no one's ready week 1, week 2, really.
Yeah. Do you think that even puts more pressure on these preseason games? Do you think people play their starters a little bit more because they haven't, quite had the same amount of reps and chances to get warm and ready to go in the offseason?
Probably not, just because the whole injury thing is. And you worry about the wear and tear of the long season, but I can definitely see more mistakes in week 1, week 2 than we usually see. Usually,
you
see a bunch of stuff going on in the beginning, but we could see some wild things happen at the beginning of the season that just normally wouldn't happen.
I completely agree with that. I think it's going to be, it's going to be a couple of weeks before we really see these teams kind of get their feet under them and get warm and get in a rhythm, Right. So, and that could really affect, later on down the year. If it takes you an extra 2 weeks to kind of get acclimated and get going, maybe you lose a game that you probably shouldn't have lost. And that's going to end up affecting everything down the line. So should be a juicy season, Mr. Lucas, with everything that's going on.
I'm excited.
This is,
win some football games.
This is unprecedented, right? We haven't ever had something like this kind of a hurdle going into a season, and it'll be really interesting to see, what teams can respond and what teams can't, and what teams were able to take advantage of the virtual offseason workouts and what teams were kind of struggling with it.
Right.
It's all stuff that we haven't ever had to deal with before. So it's gonna, I think it's gonna come down to those teams, like you said, they have stability in the front office, they have stability at the head coaching job, and they have protocols and things like that in place to make sure that they really can take advantage of other teams in that scenario. So super excited to get the season started, man. Super excited.
So of course, everyone that's been watching knows Mr. Jackson. We've started doing every week we do a new week of the regular season. We're doing our pick-ems for it, and then at the end of all this, it's going to be like the week before the NFL season. We're going to be super excited, and we'll have our full playoff bracket and everything. We'll know what we think the record of each team is going to be. We'll have our own personal power rankings based off this.
Yes,
I think it's going to be an awesome time. It's going to be great.
It works out great. The math works out great. This is a brilliant idea from Mr. Lucas. All credit to him in the comments below. This has been super fun, and it's not like we're doing it like we usually do. We're like, okay, well, let me look at all the Dolphins games, a week before. It's like we're going into this week by week and really kind of trying to predict as much as possible and fine tune. And I'll be really curious to see what my playoff bracket ends up looking like.
That's going to be great. So this is week 3 this week. For those of you
Yes.
that haven't seen any of the previous rankings, picks, just go back the last 2 weeks. You can skip to whatever time mark it is in the video. You'll have a fantastic time. Listen to what we got.
Yeah.
We are 1,000% accurate on all picks, Mr. Jackson.
1,000%.
Especially right now, given that none of the games have been played.
Right.
So no one can say we're wrong.
You can't refute us yet. Okay, we are 100% from the line here. Back to the duo, me and Lucas. Right, we don't have a guest this week. That was fun though, having Tyler on last week. That was a good time.
Yeah. So week 3, Thursday night football, Mr. Jackson. Dolphins at Jacksonville.
Dolphins at Jacksonville. Weird. Isn't that kind of a weird? Yeah, I was gonna say that's kind of a weird Thursday night game.
I might have read something wrong.
Okay, so what do we usually think about with Thursday night games, Lucas? Okay, we think about the travel that the away team has to go on a short week in preparation for their opponent, right? I think we did a statistic last year, and I can't remember the exact percentages, but the home team usually wins these Thursday night games because of those things, because of the short week, because of travel, preparation, etc. Here's the thing, though. The Dolphins are traveling to Jacksonville, and they already live in Miami. So they'll be able to go home and probably take a bus to Jacksonville for the game day. So because both teams are here on a short week, but this is practically a home game for both teams, I'm going to go with the Dolphins over the Jaguars. Minshew Mania ain't it, man. The mustache is until they make a significant change at the mustache position. I really do. I think I have Jacksonville favored to lose in every single game because Go
ahead.
Yeah, I don't see them winning this game. Yeah, they're at home. Yeah, it's a short week. Technically, they're favored, but I like what the Dolphins are doing. I like the pieces that they added in the offseason. And I think they're going to have a better quarterback. So for that reason, I'm picking Miami.
So I'm actually going to go Jacksonville here, even
Really?
though Jacksonville is the only team in the NFL that, according to Vegas, is favored to lose every game.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. All right.
Yeah. No.
I'm not crazy.
Man, Jackson. I got to go with the home team.
Yeah, see, and usually I would on these Thursday night games. That's the home team is statistically they have a much better chance, but
For
because
me, they're both bad. It's week 3. You got rookie quarterback Tua coming in.
Yeah, whether it's Tua or even if it's Ryan Fitzpatrick, I have the edge in the quarterback department. I think Gardner Minshew is the worst quarterback in the NFL. I would take backups over him.
I can't wait to see them lose, Jackson. It's going to be great.
Tired of the jorts, man. Tired of the jorts.
Next up, Titans at the Vikings.
Oh, this was one of those games, Lucas, where it was super hard for me to pick, right? So week 3, you're trying to get your feet under you, trying to get into a bit of a rhythm. You're on the road, going into Minnesota, hostile territory, and according to my rankings, I have Minnesota winning my first 2 games. They're red hot. They're coming into it. Probably successful at running the ball. But I'm going to go with your boys. I'm putting faith in you, Lucas. You got to have some of these big-time wins to make the playoffs and to win your division. And these are one of those that I'm giving you. I'm giving the edge to Tennessee and Derrick Henry. I have faith in you, Lucas. I have faith.
So I'm also going with the Titans. The Titans have this deal where we play these teams that are supposed to be way better than us or whatever, and we have a way of winning those games. It's just something we do. This Vikings game honestly doesn't scare me a whole lot. It's not like I'm playing the Chiefs or the Saints and I'm like, we're going to need some magical stuff to happen to win, This is like we're playing the Vikings and I really kind of see our teams a little even. Okay?
Yeah.
I think they probably have a better pass rush than us. And I would argue they had better wide receivers than us, but they don't have their boy anymore.
They don't have Diggs.
And I like our guys, and I think our run game's better. And I'm not sure Dalvin Cook's going to be healthy, so I gotta go with the Titans. I gotta think that we're gonna find a way because that's something we do. This to me is like playing the Chargers last year with Phillip Rivers, right? I know that their record wasn't that good, but most of their games were only lost by 1 score, I think.
Yeah, it was super close throughout the entire year.
Yeah. And so still a tough team to beat. We stopped them on the goal line at the end of the game to win. And I'm kind of looking for something like that here against the Vikings.
Yeah, I have faith. You guys are going to dig deep. You're taking that win on the road.
Next game, you have the Texans at the Steelers.
Okay, this one's fairly easy for me. You have Bill O'Brien on the road. David Johnson hasn't played forever because he's a freaking dinosaur. You're going into Mike Tomlin's stout new defense that was impressive last year, even with injuries. Big Ben's back. He's at home. He's feeling comfortable. I'm going with Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I gotta go Pittsburgh. Everything you just said checks out, bro. Bengals at the Eagles.
I got Philly at this one. Philly at home is a different beast. I think it's going to be a really tough place for Joe Burrow to play. I just don't think they match up well, especially with all of the Eagles' wide receivers. I don't think the Bengals' defense will be able to keep up.
Yeah, I mean, as long as Carson Wentz is there, they're going to win this game. The Bengals just don't have all the players. They don't have the talent yet.
Yeah, they're a work in progress, but that's okay.
49ers at the Giants.
Niners at the Giants,
man.
I'm telling you, man. I got San Francisco all the way here. Sorry, Danny Dimes. I'm looking at that 49ers front seven. It is scary, even with all the different upgrades that they did and different trades that they had. Also picked up quite a few dynamic players on offense. So, I got San Francisco here and Mr. Jimmy Garoppolo's chiseled jawline.
Yeah, well. I'm also going 49ers. I'm sorry, Tyler.
Sorry, Tyler.
It's just, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah, bro.
Raiders at the Patriots.
All right, so I'm going with Bill Belichick at home. I think New England's still a tough place to play, even if it is in September. I know, man, the Raiders have more offensive firepower. That is definitely for sure, but I'm looking for the Patriots defense, special teams to really kind of step up. I'm curious, dude. I'm like, whenever I'm picking these games, I'm like, I just don't know anything about Jarrett Stidham, man. This dude could be the truth, and I don't know, or he could be just terribly bad. But I'm looking for him to kind of hopefully get into a little bit of a rhythm here. He's at home, that should help him. For that reason, for being at home and Bill Belichick at home, I'm picking New England.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree, man. I gotta go with the Raiders.
Okay.
I know they're playing away, and it's gonna be in one of the toughest places to play, but I really don't see. Every once in a while, like I said earlier with the Titans, bro, there's just these weird matchups where some teams just do some stuff, and I think this is one of those where the Raiders are going to find a way to win, right? They're going to find a way to win, and we're knocking on wood.
Knock on wood if you're with me, all right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Redskins at the Browns, easy.
Got Cleveland.
Easy.
Cleveland at home. Jack Conklin, they picked him up. They got a new head coach. Baker Mayfield, of course, isn't shooting commercials. Sorry, Washington.
He's working with his team. We're going to talk about that later. He's working out with his wide receivers right now.
Good. That's what he should have been doing the whole time.
Yeah. Rams at the Bills.
Rams at the Bills. Man, this is one of those tough games. We've talked about the Rams before. Feel like they lost a lot of people, especially on the offensive line. Yes, they have Jalen Ramsey. It's going to be a matchup nightmare for Stephon Diggs. Who else is going to be able to step up? I'm looking at Cole Beasley. I'm also looking to Devin Singletary for the Bills as well. I got Buffalo at home on this one.
Yes, I also have Buffalo winning. You're playing at Buffalo. Strange things happen in Buffalo, man.
Weird things do happen, man.
Strange things happen, and I'm really thinking these first beginning of the season, first half of the season, Stephon Diggs is going to come out and try to prove something. So I'm looking for that to really help with him trying to help out Josh Allen.
I think he's going to have a really rough start in his first couple weeks, right? We're looking here at week 3. He's up against Jalen Ramsey, who is really going to shut him down, I feel like. And just kind of, I think it's going to be one of those things where, Stephon Diggs hasn't done much in the first 3 weeks. Is the trade of the Bills worth it? Did Minnesota luck out, getting rid of him and, things like that? I think that's going to kind of be one of those little mini story arcs going on the first couple of weeks of the season.
Bears at the Falcons.
Okay, yeah. This was a little bit more difficult to kind of pick, right? Obviously, I love the Chicago Bears stout defense. Todd Gurley added to Atlanta at home. I'm going to go with Matty Ice here. I think they're going to have enough to... Yeah, I'm going with the Falcons. I think they're going to have more than enough to... I just don't have a lot of faith in Mr. Trubisky because at this point I still think he's starting. Um, and I feel like it's quite simple, right? I think Falcons are just going to outscore them. Um, I have more faith in that offense than I do in Mitch Trubisky and his offense up against the Falcons defense. So,
Well, see, I have more faith in the Bears' run game and the Bears' defense compared to the Falcons' offense outscoring them.
well,
So I
Zach will
gotta
be
go with the
excited to hear that.
Bears.
Zach will be excited. Yeah, I'm going with Atlanta.
Panthers at the Chargers.
I almost said Cam Newton. I got Teddy Bridgewater on the road here. I'm going with the Panthers. I'm going with Christian McCaffrey. I feel like the Chargers are still going to be working out. I mean, they're still going to have Tyrod Taylor into the quarterback position here. Weird things happen in LA, like you said it before, man. The Chargers have lost a lot of close games. Maybe they flip that around this year on its head. But I'm going to go with purely off of quarterback skill here. I'm going with Bridgewater.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with the Panthers, not just on quarterback, although I do think they win in that position. I just feel like their team as a whole kind of outclasses the Chargers. Even though they're having to travel, I still see them getting the win. Jets at the Colts, Jackson.
Another easy one for me. Curious to see what happens with the Jamal Adams trade heading up into this. Obviously, the time of us doing these predictions, no trades have gone through. Even if the trade does go through, I still think the Colts have more. I mean, like you said at the beginning of the show, man, we were talking about Aiden's comment. They have talent all over the place, young talent all over the place. One of the youngest teams in the league. You bring on Phillip Rivers, who's better than Jacoby Brissett. Team him up with Frank Reich, and scary things could happen. Colts are at home. I mean, they have the advantage in almost every scenario here. I got to go with Indy.
Yeah, I also had to go with Indy. I just don't see the Jets being able to match up with their firepower. The boys at the Seahawks.
Here's the thing. Okay, so this is one of those things where we try to we bring COVID into this, right? Because traditionally, Seattle is like one of the toughest places to play. It's one of the it's top 5 in terms of hard places to play, with crowds, with crowd noise, with different things like that. And it's West Coast, so usually you have to get up earlier because you're used to a different time zone. So it's a bit different there. So the Seahawks are almost always favored at home. I'm curious to see if the games we play with fans this year, or if they are, at what point in the season do they bring them in? Is it the beginning? Is it middle? But I'm assuming the fans will be here. So with that, I'm going with Seattle at home. Russell Wilson has the edge. I like their defense a bit more. And I don't know, man. Russell Wilson, I feel like he's just going to I think he's going to be in MVP form this year, man. And I don't think we're going to have enough to counteract that.
Every year.
I'm going, isn't he? Dude, he's so good, man. I'm going with Seattle at home. Sorry, boys.
Yeah, I could go Seattle too. The way your secondary is right now, and that bad man Russell Wilson. Yeah.
Yeah.
Buccaneers travel to Denver for the Broncos.
Listen, man. Brady's got a bone to pick with the Broncos, okay? Because I think it was 2013. Brady's trying to get back to another Super Bowl. Goes into Denver, gets beat by Peyton Manning. Okay, he's got a bone to pick with the actual Broncos. All right, he's tired of them. He gets to go back into that stadium and get revenge for what should have been his several years back. Okay, so it's Tom Brady, man. The Denver Broncos don't have much. Okay, yeah, they added a couple. They did a pretty good draft, and that's great. But we're comparing two completely opposite sides of the spectrum in terms of quarterback skill here. Drew Lock on the up and coming, kind of. We got the GOAT, man, who, by the way, had an incredible golf game this past weekend. All right, in a charity game, I think he teamed up with Jack Nicklaus, and they played against Tiger Woods and Peyton Manning. And anyway, so the GOAT played really well at golf. He could play well at anything. Okay, even in hostile territory, even in the Mile High Stadium. I got Tampa on the road.
I actually have the Broncos winning. Number one, it's in Denver. All right, and that affects the players playing at that altitude.
It does.
Coming from Tampa.
Yes, that's true.
On top of that, Brady teams are known for slipping up earlier in the year. This is it. This is the slip.
Bro.
An away game against the Broncos where you got Von Miller and Jarrell Casey on the other side coming after you.
I'm baffled.
Along with Marshall coming after you. I gotta go with the Broncos. I see I see the Bucks making some mistakes this game and losing it themselves.
Mike Evans will have a day against Denver.
We'll see.
Will have a day. Telling you, man.
We'll see, Mr. Jackson.
But we disagree on a lot of these games, Mr. Lucas.
You want to make it a bet?
What, that Mike, like in week 3, Mike Evans will have a 100-yard game or something?
Well, I feel like 100 yards isn't like, oh, he had a game.
That's a game, dude. 100 yards? What you mean?
100 yards kind of standard for. Hello?
What do you mean? 100 yards should be standard every game?
100 yards with no touchdowns? I mean, that's pretty average.
I don't think that's pretty average at all. I think that's a good game. I mean, if he has touchdowns on top of it, obviously that's great. I mean,
on a passing team? Hello?
Bro, you gotta forget, bro. You gotta pass the rock around. He's got Chris Godwin. He's got Gronk. He's got everybody.
Lions at the Cardinals, Jackson.
I got the Cardinals at home. I got D-Hop, all right? Sorry, Jeff Okuda. It's not enough there for you. And Matt Stafford.
See, this is hard. I'm going to have to go Lions.
Wow. Okay. I'm not harping on the Lions pick. I'm just saying, like, wow, we really disagree on a lot of games this week.
It ain't that bad.
More than usual.
4 games? 5 games?
It's at least 5
Packers
or 6.
at Saints.
Oh, I got the Saints at home. I got B Breezy.
Yeah, I don't know how you can pick anyone else.
Yeah. Drew Brees is
last game we'll probably be split on this. Chiefs Ravens.
Ooh, that's a Monday night game too. Chiefs Ravens. Chiefs are on the road here, but I'm gonna go with my Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes on the road in hostile territory. This is the AFC Championship game everybody else wanted, Lucas, except us. But yeah, should be good. Should be a good game. I got Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes here.
Yeah, I've also got the Chiefs. I don't see the Ravens being able to keep up. Like we've talked about it before, they're not the high scoring team. They're a run team.
And if you can stop the run, you can stop the Ravens. You make Lamar Jackson beat you with his arm.
So that's it for the picks this week, Jackson. It is time for.
Oh, it's my favorite. It's my favorite. Little drum roll.
Leave it.
Take it or leave it. I love it, man. Ooh, I am ready. I am ready to get it going.
For those of you that don't know, Take It or Leave It is a segment we do every week where I give Jackson about 5 statements. He takes it, leaves it, tell his thoughts. Good times. Let's go. Number 1, Jackson.
Yes.
The Texans had the worst offseason of all 32 teams.
I think yes. I mean, there's some teams that have had some pretty bad off seasons, but I think they have to be in the conversation, right? You lose the best wide receiver in the league. For what? A group of picks that you used to get Brandon Cooks, David Johnson, and Randall Cobb. And by the way, you also lost Carlos Hyde. He went and signed to Seattle. Mm-hmm. So you lose your big time. You lose your other running back who's able to kind of come in and help you out and spare David Johnson, 5 to 6 carries a game. Spell him out a little bit or take over should David Johnson, who has a big time who has an injury history, get hurt.
Right.
Not only that, they lost a tremendous amount of draft picks, right? They didn't really draft hardly anybody. I can't think off the top of my head who they did draft, right? That's how impactful, let's say, that their draft was. I don't think
they had a pick in the first or second round. I'm not 1,000% unsure on that.
I'm not 1,000%, but even if they did, nothing name jumps out at me, right? They didn't draft a CeeDee Lamb. They didn't draft, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like they definitely deserve to be in the conversation. I'm going to go ahead and say take it. I think Bill O'Brien's crazy. I think he's driving this team into the ground. I can't see how he can effectively be general manager and coach at the same time, doing 2 jobs, when both of which require way more than 40 hours a week to be effective, at this high level. So, I'm going to take it, man. I'm going to take it. Now, maybe he's a prophet and he's crazy and everything that he did works out and they finally get to the AFC Championship game that they've been waiting to punch through because they've been winning the division year after year. And if that happens, I'll eat my words. But history suggests Bill O'Brien's just crazy. And I think he had one of the worst off seasons that you could possibly have.
Yeah, so I'm also going to take it, everything you said, plus you've upset your quarterback. Uh, we've seen a little bit of frustration by him on social media. You also got the extremely high contract that he gave Laramie Tunsil, which was insane. Um, so it's just I got to put him at last. Number two, Jackson, take it or leave it. Ryan Tannehill and Dak Prescott should be working with their wide receivers
Yeah,
like other teams, such as the Cleveland Browns have Baker Mayfield out there throwing to his wide receivers. You got Big Ben is throwing to his people. You know, Tom Brady. We seen that was all over ESPN and stuff this past week. He's throwing with his people. Meanwhile, I got Tannehill throwing with one tight end in Florida, while the second string quarterback is throwing with the rest of the team in Nashville.
yeah. So I think, especially when you're talking about Ryan Tannehill, he most definitely should. He's got his contract figured out, right? He's signed. He's good to go. As far as restrictions that have been happening with COVID stuff, I think most of those are starting to kind of, or at least we're starting to kind of ease up some of those. So he should be able to work out with his wide receivers as long as he can do something in a safe manner. That's cool. He definitely should be because he has a contract figured out. He's it's his first year as a starter in Tennessee. Coming in as a full year to be the guy, and you got a lot to work on in the AFC South, right? The Indianapolis Colts got better. Yeah, the Texans got worse, but this is your opportunity to really seize that division title and make another deep run in the playoffs. Conversely, with the Cowboys, I can understand why Dak isn't, because Dak wants to hold leverage for his contract negotiations. If he's out there, if he's out there throwing with his wide receivers, and if he's out there playing in practice or whatever, that technically could make him look like, okay, well, he's going to be here no matter what. It makes him look weak in the negotiations. However, my personal opinion, I would love him to be out there because I want him to get this contract figured out. Because here's the thing, Dak, you got a brand new coach coming in who's got a different system that you have to adjust with Kellen Moore. You have wide receivers who are new. You got CeeDee Lamb, right, who arguably was the best wide receiver in the draft, who fell to you at 17, who would love to work with his quarterback, right? You have a chance in the NFC East with how bad this division has been historically over the past 3 to 4 years we have a very tiny window to try and make a Super Bowl. And I don't want Dak sitting at home or whatever it is that he's doing and not signing this contract. He absolutely should be out there with his wide receivers. But because of this contract thing, and only because of this contract negotiations, I can see why he's not, because he has to position himself in favor for the contract. But I would like that to be signed, done, and we get to work, because we got a lot of work to do. And this quarantine definitely has pulled us back a little bit in those terms. And I mean, every day that he's at home and not practicing with his wide receivers is a day absolutely wasted. So
I think it hurts him.
It absolutely does hurt him.
I think it hurts him because I think it looks better in your negotiations, and it looks better to the team if you are working. And I think it would be just as easy, and I think it would be better for his argument and for his leverage and stuff if he would be like, I'm still working with my people because I have faith that we're going to get this deal done and we're going to be happy, and I'm going to be here with this team and we're going to win championships.
Yeah, but that's not what works with the Cowboys, is it, Lucas? That's not what works with Jerry Jones. You could fly off to Cabo.
No one's tried it. No one's tried it with Jerry Jones.
You could, but here's but it works. But it works. Okay? Like what Dak is doing works. Zeke went to Cabo, okay, and came back with a nose ring and got paid.
Zeke's different, Jackson.
But Dak, different. I know. Listen, but Dak is just following the mold. He's following the lead of what Zeke did. Okay? Now, if Zeke had done the right thing, which you and me believe, and play with his team and say, we're confident I'm going to get this deal done. I'm ready to go win a Super Bowl, but I want to get paid. If he had done what you and me had wanted him to do, okay, like that would have been great. But because he went to Cabo and set that example for Dak, Dak's just going to follow suit. He's just going to follow suit with what he thinks works the best for him to get paid.
He's going to have a bad year. Zeke had a terrible year.
He is going to. I know he's going to have a bad year. I agree with you, but I'm just saying.
Let me finish my argument. I think it helps him more for him to do that and show good faith and tell the team that stuff, because then I think they're going to be more likely. It just further makes your boy want him. Okay, it just further like he's like, this is our guy. This is our guy. I'm gonna pay him. I'm gonna pay him because he's out there working. He's out there working with his people, and he's gonna win for it. I just feel like it works better.
Yeah, I'm with you, and I would much rather sign a guy like that. However, right, from his position, he's just going to go off of what, in his eyes, he's seen has worked, and that's Zeke. It's not right. It's wrong. He is going to have a bad year. He is going to suffer from it, and we're going to probably be in a much worse position that if he had been with the team the entire time and had been working and had talking to the coaches.
All right, Jackson.
I am agreeing with you.
No, you're repeating things now. We're getting sidetracked.
Listen,
we're going on tangents.
I'm passionate when I talk about my Cowboys.
Number 3, Jackson. The proposed / tested / rumored 4th and 15 rule that they've thought about bringing in and replacing onside kicks and giving teams the option to do so. Do you think it should replace onside kicks? Do you think they should just take, like they should bring that in and they should tell teams like, hey, you can at 4th and 15, if you convert, you get the ball back. If you want an onside kick, you can do that.
I think it'd be cool to see, man. I really do. I think it's a much higher percentage. I was reading an article about this before the show started, and for 4th and 15, the odds of that succeeding last year in 2019 was 28%. Right? You think about that, you're like, man, that's really low. Here's the thing: onside kick attempts, right? It was 3 out of, I think, or 12 out of 7, 3 out of like 80 or something like that got converted. It was something like 12% of them actually worked. And actually fully recovered. So I would like to see the 4th and 15 rule implemented. The onside kick, it's not what it used to be because of like some different, all the different hit rules that you could do. It's way less successful than it has been before. So yeah, I would love to see a 4th and 15. I think if you can convert on a 4th and 15 play, then you deserve to keep the ball.
So I'm gonna leave it. I don't think it should. I think that the onside kick is supposed to be hard. The numbers are low because they're supposed to be low. You're not supposed to be able to just get the ball back. Like, you're not supposed to be able to make all these mistakes, and it's your fault that you're in the position you're in, and then you go out there and you're like, we do 4th and 15, get the ball back, go down, score, and all of a sudden it's a different game. I think 4th and 15 is too easy. Honestly.
It's still low.
How many times do you see a pass and play that's past 15 yards, So,
yeah, it just kind of depends on the team. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see something different.
If they made it higher, maybe,
4th and 20?
Maybe.
I'd be curious to see the percentages on that too. I just feel like 12.7% is too low.
Like an onside kick is hard.
Yeah, it is hard, but 12.7% is too low to even try and attempt it. I feel like if it was up like 20,
who got 3 in a game, I think.
Right, that those might have been the only 3 that actually got converted all year. This is Falcons, man.
Number 4, should we expect a lot from Mike McCarthy and the boys? I asked this because it's a new coach coming in. I don't know why I asked you 2 Cowboy questions. I made a mistake. I'm cutting you off if you start going too long and start repeating the same things. But it's just new coach coming in, and like, should we really be expecting a whole lot from this? We got to fix Coach Clapp's problems that he's got in the team.
Normally, I would say yes. You should expect a significant change in coaching style. You should expect a significant change in how the locker rooms run, et cetera, et cetera. However, with the offseason ran the way that it has been, and with all the different challenges that Mike McCarthy has come into it, I don't expect a whole lot from him year 1. Right? I think it's going to take a while for him to kind of, get comfortable and get rooted and get ready to go. I feel like this season is going to be kind of weird. It's going to be kind of awkward. It's going to take a while for teams to get, in a rhythm. So I don't expect a whole lot out of McCarthy this first year.
Well, I just mean, like, in terms of the team winning, like, are you still expecting your team to go far into the playoffs? Like, I know what you want as a fan, but, like, if you put yourself in a third-person view, like, are you really expecting the Cowboys to
go deep in the playoffs?
Make the playoffs? No.
To make the playoffs, yes. I would hope so. Because of the NFC East and its troubles and the division. Okay. If they were in another division, no. But because the NFC East has been so bad, with all the talent they have, we definitely should make the playoffs. Absolutely. So it should be, I guess, in that, say, a greater expectation than Jason Garrett last year, because we didn't make the playoffs. We were 8-8. Thanks, Garrett.
Last one, Jackson. The Patriots will not make the playoffs. Take it or leave it.
Oh my gosh, you really did put me on the spot. Because there's 7 this year, I think they're going to make it. I do, man. That division that they're in is completely up for grabs. I think the Buffalo Bills are going to capitalize on that. Still, I still think they're going to be open to a wild card spot with how bad the Dolphins and with how bad the Jets are going to be. They're still going to leave themselves open and have a fighting chance for it. Because it's been expanded, I could see them still making it. Yeah, and I want them to make it because, Lucas, we've been running the perfect story, bro. Like, imagine if Bill makes it back and that, like, 1 in a million shot scenario happens where Brady versus off against Belichick as the first team to host a Super Bowl. It's just too perfect for it not to be. So I'm going to put it out in the universe. Yes, the Patriots will make the playoffs.
No way. I'm leaving it. They're not making it, bro. I know. I love Belichick. He's an amazing coach. He's the best ever. But come on. They have nothing.
Come on, man. We'll see.
That's it for Take It or Leave It, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, that's it for Take It or Leave It. Guys, thank you so much for dropping in for episode number 7 of the Go For 2 podcast. Again, apologies for no video here today, but for the audio, our normal listeners, nothing much has changed for you, I guess. But
I'll take the blame. It's my bad.
But we'll be back to normal next week. We'll figure out our technical difficulties. We'll be good to go. Guys, thank you so much. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Always leave a comment down below. Thank you, Aiden, for leaving a comment. Thank you, Casey, for all of your comments on Hometown Heroes. Casey needs some love, okay? He needs a little bit of help down there in the comment section, okay? He's starting to get a little wild, a little insane, a little crazy. But that's okay. That's the way that we like him. If you guys have any questions for us, leave them in the comments. But I think that's going to do it. Have a happy Memorial Day for us here on the pod, and we will see you in the next episode. Love you. Bye.
Deuces.